Good morning, it's Jo with JoWiseLeadership.com, and today we're going to be having a chat about relationships, specifically role model relationships, and how we can create those to be really, really resourceful and still stay true for you. I'm just going to move my up a little bit because I cut my head off a little bit. And I'm just going to share this with my other groups so that we're going live in a whole bunch of different groups. Good morning, Luann. Nice to see you today. I see that you are involved in a really cool workshop at the moment, so I'm going to have a bit of a look at that. It looks exciting. All right, let me just share this with my other groups and we'll get kicked off. It is, I tell you, in Melbourne today, it's the most beautiful sunny day. This morning until, like seriously, what's the time? Yeah, until about 10 o'clock, it was so foggy. I was dropping my son at school this morning and the kids were running around the playground. There was fog everywhere. It's cool. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Role models. Sure. Yeah. Sure, relationships resourcefully. Great. All right. Looks like we are shared. All right, so thank you for joining me this morning. Hi, Katrina. Nice to see you as well. Good morning, Sarah. So today we're going to have a bit of a chat about role models. We have an environment at the moment where there's lots of role models around. We're reading lots of stuff which says about how we can benefit from mentors and coaches and having role models. And this is a topic that quite often comes up. I speak at a lot of women in leadership conferences, which I absolutely love to do. And it's a topic that always comes up, how to get a mentor, how do you get a coach, what's it like, what's it all about. And I just wanted to have a chat about that today, more in relationship to role models and whatever form they come from you. Good morning, Terry. And how we can do that to really be resourceful to help us move forward rather than not. So at the moment, I'm booked in to see a whole bunch of speakers over the next couple of months, which is really, really exciting. Yesterday, I saw Jane Goodall, who is the chimpanzee woman from that spent so many years in Africa, and she's doing so much amazing stuff now through the Jane Goodall what do they call it, association or organization here in Australia as well, to be able to create a lot of really helpful information and help people move forward and understand why keeping the environment healthy is an important thing for us to actually survive in the future. So I saw her Jane yesterday, and I walked away feeling just really, really inspired. Now, actually get a little bit uncomfortable using the word inspired at the moment because everybody's inspiring, you just have to move to be called inspiring these days. But Jane Goodall was actually really, really inspiring. She was true and real, and she spoke from her heart, and she just said it as it is. And she also started her conversation yesterday with chimpanzee calls, which is the first time I've ever heard that, and I thought that was such a great way to start it. I saw her yesterday. I've got some other great speakers that I'm going to see over the next couple of months. Amy Cuddy, who's the Power Pose woman, and I've been following her for years because I use a lot of her data and the studies that she's done in a lot of the stuff that I do for leadership. There's also Taryn Brumfitt, I think is her name. She's the woman that is inspiring, and empowering women to fall in love with their bodies as they are. So we've got Sarah saying she won't play me today. Thank you, Sarah. It's nice to know that you're enjoying the videos. Hi, Aaron. How you going? So sorry, Sarah, that your video is not watching today, or you're not allowing you to watch today. I hope it's okay for everyone else. Just as you come on, say hi. Let me know that you can see it okay, because Sarah's having problems. So it'd be great to know if anyone else can see it. Aaron, just let me know. Okay, so lots of inspiring speakers coming up. And when I go and watch these speakers, and we're so lucky to have some great ones in Melbourne coming through Business Chicks at the moment. When I'm watching them and listening to them, thanks for the thumbs up. I'm coming from the perspective of being, you know, a woman and a leader, an entrepreneur, you know, a coach, how I can add value to others. So I'm sort of taking all of those hats into the room and learning as much as I can about that. Now, what's interesting about this is having so many inspiring women that I'm going to be in the room with over the next couple of months is I started to think about it yesterday with conversations we were having at breakfast around when I was younger in my career, that is, when I first started out being, you know, a successful career woman in my 20s. I remember looking up to a whole bunch of women. It's always been, you know, I've been really lucky to have some extremely strong women in my life over the years. And I've always been very drawn to women from a leadership perspective, so that, you know, I just find that I can connect better, I can ask advice easier. There's been a lot of really strong, fantastic men in my life as well, but from a role model perspective, I do tend to be drawn to women, really strong women. And luckily I've had plenty of those around me over the years. However, when I was sort of in my 20s and starting out in my career and going sort of through my 20s, working through lots of different jobs and different organizations, I sort of remember, you know, turning to these women for advice and, you know, being able to ask them lots of really great questions and sort of ensuring that I was in the room with them wherever possible. So sort of creating situations where I was going to be in the room with them, whether that was, you know, volunteering for something or, you know, working on a charity within the organization that I was working in at the time, just to surround myself with these strong women so I could learn from them. Hi Sam, nice to see you. And that was a really great thing that worked for me really well in my career. But there was also times throughout my career that I had these strong women around me that I would also put them like on a bit of a pedestal, you know, on a bit of a pillar. And I saw them sometimes as, you know, some very particular women that I remember throughout my sort of 20s probably, where I really put them on a pillar. I saw them as, you know, wow, they always had their shit together. They, you know, they seem to be able to deal with any situation like really gracefully. You know, they always seem to look good and, you know, and be good, and like they just always had everything together. And I think that got to a stage with a couple of them where I kind of saw them as, you know, they were these perfect women, and I was kind of here and they were way up there, and there was this massive gap between where I was and they were. And I put them up on a pillar. Now, the interesting thing about that is when we put somebody up on a pillar like that, it is a long way to fall, you know. And I noticed that with my sort of relationships and mentor relationships with these particular women, that as soon as I started, like a fair way into the relationship, you know, if I was working in an organization for a couple of years, I would start to see a couple of cracks where maybe they didn't seem as perfect as they did at the start. Now, interestingly enough, that's probably because they were human and nobody's actually perfect. But what I found about this is at the time, you know, back in my 20s, hi Roberta, nice to see you. What happened then was, you know, I put them up on this pillar. I saw them as, you know, having the answer for everything. I would go to them for advice. I would, you know, watch what they were doing and make sure I was surrounding myself with them as much as possible. But I really had them on that pillar, and I saw them as pretty much perfection, even though obviously now I'm a lot wiser in my 40s and I know nobody's perfect. But at the time, you know, I saw them as perfect. As soon as I started to see the cracks, maybe something massive happened at work, or maybe they, you know, they shared something with me that they'd done in their personal life and I was like being very judgmental about that, or, you know, all of these things. As soon as I started to see the cracks of imperfection, it would be like they dropped from all of the way up here right down to the ground, crashing down. And that's what happens when we put people on pillars. And so today I wanted to have a chat about, yes, it's amazing to have role models and to go and see inspiring speakers and to surround yourself with incredible mentors and coaches and, you know, go out there and get what you need. However, I think there's a big difference between role models and actually putting someone up on a pillar, or, you know, or on a pedestal, because when they're up on that pedestal, there's a long way to fall. And with that long way to fall, it's actually only us that's affected, not the other person, because the other person's just going about their life doing what they were doing. They probably, I know in my case, never told me that they were perfect. They never tried to be perfection, and they didn't ask to be put up on a pillar. I put them up there naturally. So that's where it can become a little bit unhealthy, because when you see the cracks, there's a long way to fall and they come crashing down. And then there's, like, for me, there was a lot of disappointment about that. And really, that is all about me. It was all about me in my 20s, not about the other person at all. Because, as I said, they never told me they were perfect. They never went out there to act as if they were perfect. So in our world at the moment, where, you know, we can find 10 things for being amazing at this, or we can follow somebody and learn a lot from them, I think it's just really great to be able to come back and take a step back for a moment and recognize about, you know what, nobody is perfect. And there's no reason to put anybody up on a pillar, because really there's no gap between where I am and where anybody else is. Of course, other people will have strengths, they will have experiences, they will have situations that have happened where I can learn from them, but it's coming from a place of me being wise and me wanting to learn, to improve, to tweak, to get better results, rather than from the place that I'm lacking in who I am, I'm not enough, this person is everything that I aspire to be, and there's this huge gap in between. Because it can come from a real place of lack if you're creating those relationships like that. So to be able to create more healthy role model relationships, and I think this is something that comes into so much of our environment at the moment, with, you know, there being so much advice and so much, you know, 10 tips for this and 20 tips for this, and, you know, instant pills to create success for you in whichever area that's important to you. I think it's really important for us to remember that we actually have all of the resources we need inside of us to create what we need. And one of those resources, I know particularly for me, because I love learning and I love education and I love growth, one of the resources that I use and utilize inside of me a lot is that resource where I know where I need a little bit more, where I feel that I could enhance some of the knowledge that I've got. And then I will go and seek that information from particular people or books or whatever. But I always run that knowledge, experience, information through my own filters, through my own life, through my own leadership, through my own career, through my own business, to see how I believe that that's going to work for me. Because everybody's got, you know, there's so many success stories out there at the moment, the 0 to hero. You know, if you just follow these 3 steps, then you'll be, you know, magical and amazing and whatever you're trying to achieve. But you know what? That's somebody else's story. And it's amazing for us to be able to learn from other people like that. However, coming from a place of where you are enough, where you've got the resources, and you're the person that had the wisdom to choose to go after that information to enhance your knowledge. Tish Black, good morning. How are you today? I bet it's night. So you're in Canada, Tish. So it's so lovely to see you. Oh, excited. I haven't seen Tish for years. So nice to have international visitors today, Tish. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we've been talking today about unresourceful relationships with role models, where we put people on pillars. Whenever we put someone on a pillar, it's kind of creating a gap between where I am and where they are as a person. And when you put someone on a pillar and you start seeing the cracks, there's a long way for them to fall. A way more resourceful way of coming at that relationship is to know, you know, yes, I'm the person that's seeking out this information. I am enough. And as the quote goes, you know, I'm stronger than I think, I'm wiser than I feel, and I'm smarter than I know. Coming from that perspective, like knowing that we actually are super smart, we know a lot, you know, we don't have, you know, there's areas that we want to improve and grow, but you know what? You are enough as you are. So coming from that perspective means that it's like we're not trying to fill gaps that we've got. It's more of a resourceful way of growing than sort of trying to, just add bits on. Okay, so I'd be really interesting to know how you're feeling about what I've had to say today. If you've had any experiences like I did in my 20s, putting people on pillars, which led to a lot of disappointment and probably resentment and in times of reflection for me, and how you go with that now, like what you shifted around that to be able to have more resourceful relationships and helpful relationships with your role model that allows you to move forward. Hi Celeste, nice to see you. Your birthday's coming up soon. So the other thing I wanted to touch base on today, so as well as talking about role models and making sure that that is resourceful for you and helping you move forward, is I've been running what we call some VIP strategy session days, career strategy session days. And I've run a fair few, sort of usually do about 3 to 4 a month. And I have a place available still for the month of June. So for anybody that is interested in having what I call a VIP strategy session for your career, what that really is about is it's about getting us together either on, say, Skype, so I can see each other, or face-to-face in Melbourne. Can do either, and we'll spend a half day together where we really drill down on what are your next steps around your career. I've done 2 of these in the last 2 weeks, so I generally do 1 a week. And the person that I was in the session with last week, she sent me a Facebook message yesterday, and she's like, I've got so much clarity and I'm really owning my power since walking away from that session. So that's just so delightful to be able to be in that process, helping somebody get to that stage themselves. And now she's just skyrocketing with taking the next steps around her career. And the other one that I did with the fortnight ago, she flew in from another state to be able to spend half a day with me, which was amazing. Hi, Margaret, I was thinking about you yesterday. And she sent me a message last night about some of the changes that she's already creating around her career and what the next steps are for her. So if you're in a position in your career at the moment where you're like, you know what, I'm kind of here, but I'm either dabbling along, or there's a couple of opportunities that might be coming up that you're not sure you've positioned yourself for correctly, then get in touch. I've got, as I said, 1 VIP strategy session available for this month, so it needs to be taken in the month of June, and I'm only offering that for anybody that PMs me today. So if that sounds like you, then send me a private message. We'll get that organized. The price for that is, the normal price for that is $1,650 for the morning, or for the half day, and I'm going to drop that price for Facebook Live today down to $900, so that's a huge drop. So if that sounds like you, then get in touch, send me a private message, and we'll get that organized and get you taking steps in your career, coming from a place of you knowing that you have all of you need inside of you, and just giving you a little bit of guidance so that you're able to take those next steps and get absolute clarity around what's right for you and what's the next steps for you, coming from a place of like authenticity and realness, so that you're able to position yourself in a place in your career where you're really proud of and really feels good for you. That's all I have to offer today. Let me know if you have any comments. Please add any questions and comments below. I'll check in later in the day. I've got a huge day today. It's my last day in the office for the week today. I'm delivering a Foundations of Management training the next couple of days over in Box Hill, which is really exciting. I've run this course for this business a couple of times, and we've got a new bunch of about 15 leaders in tomorrow, and we cover heaps of amazing stuff around mindfulness, around having real conversations, around building trust with their team. So that's really cool, but it also means that I've only got today in the office to get some proposals out and some other marketing material done. So you have an amazing week. I look forward to hearing from you, and let me know what you need. See you soon.